Welcome, everybody, to Discussions on Great Leadership. I'm Stephen Howard, and my guest today is Andrea Lizarzaburu, who is the Latin America and Caribbean Regional Director for WEConnect International, a group that I like to support and encourage you to support. Andrea is multilingual. She's got a background in international development, and her specialty is she links private sector initiatives, entrepreneurship, innovation, education, and multi-stakeholder collaborations. That sounds like you got a lot on your plate. And she's lived and worked in Amsterdam, in Quito, Ecuador, Haiti, Geneva, the Dominican Republic, San Francisco, and now in Washington, D.C. So she's got a great deal of global leadership experience. And today she's responsible for the growth of WEConnect in Latin America and the Caribbean, leading initiatives that support linking women-owned businesses and the corporate purchasing activities of major multinational organizations. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me here, Stephen. It's a great pleasure.
My absolute pleasure. And our first question, which is the same first question for everybody, tell me, what does the term great leadership mean to you?
Well, to me, great leadership is really the ability to mobilize people, obviously towards something great. That requires a lot of work, but a whole set of abilities, starting with empathy and generosity. At least those two are the ones that I admire the most in some of the great leaders I've met in my life.
Excellent, excellent. So it sounds also like influence must be a key skill for great leaders. Is that right?
Yeah, influence, the capacity exactly to have people do things that are somehow inspired by you. It's not that you want to necessarily do make them do what you want them to do, but more them being able to be inspired by you and be empowered to pursue a common objective.
Okay, great, great. Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who are some of the great leaders that you admire?
I've been very, very lucky to have worked with, great leaders in my personal life. I've always, I feel I've been really blessed to have had great bosses, like people who have guided me in this process, and like mentors as well. So that, on the personal level, but I always admire great leaders around the world. And I see, it's pretty cliche, but I admire pretty much, all the leaders in the world that the rest of the world really admires. Like, for example, Nelson Mandela, how was he able to, achieve such amazing things without having such great leadership skills, right? And that's, as I said, I feel that the capacity of these leaders of being really empathetic and generous is something that I really admire, because that is really hard. Every human being, I feel, we all have egos and we all want to really escalate in our lives, and sometimes being able to really look to share that with other people, sometimes that can be hard. And for me, that is the most interesting thing that I find in the great leaders, their ability to really grow with, the group of people and in the I would say the larger society with them. That's kind of like my short answer.
I like that short answer. I like the fact that you think leaders can continue to grow. I'm a big believer in that leadership. We're always learning new things about leadership, and particularly in today's world. How do you lead in a remote environment today? How are you leading in WeConnect right now, trying to lead your people around Latin America? I guess you're not traveling as much as you used to, right?
Exactly. We're not traveling at all. Me and my team, we used to travel all over the place, because as of now, we serve in 15 different countries in Latin America. And in the past, I would be traveling everywhere. Now, since March, nothing. The good thing is that I have experience working with remote teams. Like, even before the pandemic hit, I was already working with my teams remotely. I have people based in Brazil, in Colombia, in Argentina, in Mexico. And well, of course, technology is a great enabler. Without technology, I don't know what would it be of us. But it's been hard, because even from time to time, we would be able to meet each other in events, conferences, trainings, whatever we had going on in the region. Now it's been harder. But I think the important thing is always it's always having an open channel, being able to really find the time and the space to listen to each other, share, stay connected, and be able to really, empower them to feel that they're not alone, but that they have, a lot of responsibility, especially being, far away from your team and all that. It's really challenging. And that's what I believe my team, they always give this, feedback is very hard to be far away from, your leader or your team. But it's something so important to stay connected and find ways and space and really be able to listen to each other.
Yeah, great. Thank goodness for technology, huh?
Yes, exactly. It's crazy.
All right, last question, Andrea. What's one leadership practice that you keep at the forefront of your mind at all times? What keeps you driving as a good leader for WeConnect?
For me, I've learned that listening is probably the hardest, but it's the most important one. Sometimes, you're so busy and you're so, you get dragged into, daily activities, and it's really hard to really listen to people. And by listening, I mean, understanding where they're coming from, their values, what they care from, what their situation at the moment, to be able to really act on and tap on the opportunities that, relationships and challenges sometimes are, in front of you. So for me, it's always it's hard, and it's also something really important to stay connected with my team, but also being very pay attention to what they're saying and what they're doing, and being able to connect in that space. I think that's the most important and challenging thing as well. And then, of course, after that, to build, the trust and being able to empower them as well. It's something really, really, really important.
Good. And I guess part of that listening skills, you also have to listen to what's not being said sometimes. Do people give you the answers they expect you to hear?
And that is the most difficult when you are working remotely, right? And it's something that we are, I think, missing out a lot now that we're not seeing each other, because there's a lot, you are an expert on that. There's a lot on the body language. There's a lot on, like behaviors and attitudes that, that add on the communication that happens, that takes place between people. So, there's so many other alternatives, turning on your camera, being able to, have some space to also talk about personal stuff, not that you need to, know every details, coworkers, family, or anything, but just being able to, establish a personal connection with somebody, so that you can really understand how that person is and what's important to that person, so that you can really understand, whenever something's happening, you can really understand where they're coming from, what is important to them, what's, what they value, so that, you can help them adapt to sometimes, changes. Change is the most difficult thing to deal with whenever you're managing a team, but you really need to make sure that, how the change, you need to make sure that the change that is affecting the person, or the team, is being taken as something, that is something imposed to them, but it's something that, that they can be part of. I feel that that's really important, especially for the nonprofit sector. We're always struggling for resources, and there's a lot of change going on. It's easy when you're, leading in large organizations where you have resources to hire experts and, always keep the team really excited and motivated through, different means. When it comes to, like fast-paced organizations, small, dealing with resource, shortcuts and stuff like that, it's difficult. So I think it's very important to be able to build, to know each other and really empower people.
That's great advice, Andrea. I mean, we have to all remember that even though we're trying to lead for results, we're at the end of the day, we're still leading people, and it's still the people are going to give us those results.
Exactly. People first, always. I think that's very, very important.
Thank you very much. My guest today has been Andrea Lizarzaburu. She's the Latin America and Caribbean Regional Director for WeConnect International. I hope you enjoyed this discussion on great leadership. If so, give us a thumbs up, a like button below, and don't forget to subscribe so that you know next time we have a discussion on great leadership. Thanks again, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.